By the time we're 50s, we spend decades putting everyone else first. Our kids, partners, jobs, and even friends. We've been caregivers, nurturers, problem solvers. But what happens when we look around and realize that we've been putting ourselves not first for sure? And for a period of time, that is absolutely okay. So when we are 20s, of course, we have more energy and we just go out, slay the world, build these careers, find husbands, take care of children and all that. But it's so important to reflect now at this stage of our lives and see, okay, does what I was doing then serves me right now? And I did that a few years ago and I realized that the things that I was doing then, they were great then, but I continue doing them now and they do not serve me. Many of the things did not serve me. So it's a good idea to reevaluate, to reflect, to see all the pieces of life, like friendships, community, jobs, romantic relationships, and evaluate in which area in life you are not prioritizing yourself. So in this video, we are going to talk about how to put ourselves first, because the relationships we have and the way people treat us are mere reflection of how we treat ourselves. So if we want others to put us first and our needs, we need to do that first for ourselves. Think of it as a promotion. You don't get the promotion and then start doing the work. You do the work and then ask for the promotion. So it's the same concept. If you feel like life is being passing you by, or you keep ending in relationships where you're not valued, there is a big chance that you're not valuing yourself first. Because the relationships we have with others reflect the relationship we have with ourselves. The most important relationship we have is with ourselves. When we start prioritizing ourselves and set healthy boundaries, then other people will start to do that as well for us. And yes, along the way, we need to drop some people, and that's okay, especially if they haven't been treating us right. Once you start prioritizing yourself and start treating yourself, it's going to be so eye-opening that these people are not going to like it. They're not going to like the new version of you. And they'll put up a fight. And it's okay to let them go. And I think that is a big fear that many of us have. If we change, we might lose these people. And that's a scary thing. So we have to trust that whoever it's right for us and it's meant to be with us will grow with us, will adjust to the new version of us. And if it's not meant to be, it will not be. So let's uncover a little bit how prioritizing yourself can transform every connection in your life. The mirror principle. The way people treat you mirrors how you treat yourself. And maybe you disagree, but if you take a hard look and you're honest with yourself, you will discover that this is the truth. For example, if you find yourself in a relationship where men take you for granted, ignoring your needs, expecting you to always bend for them, always be available, drop everything the last minute, go and meet them, it might be worth asking, am I giving myself the respect that I want from them to give to me? And I'm guilty of that too. I used to have avoidant, anxious attachment style, and I graduated to secure attachment style. Many years, a lot of hard work, but it is possible to change an attachment style. So when I went to a breakup, I realized that I did not put my needs first where I could have put my needs first. And I'm not saying always ignore what your partner wants. I'm not saying that. But there were moments that I could have put my needs first. I read somewhere, and I absolutely agree, accept the person exactly as who they are, as if they'll never, ever change. And if they change, that'll be a bonus. But if they don't change, ask yourself, would I be with that person? Because trying to change someone, it's exhausting. So when I went through that breakup, I took a hard look on myself and what I was doing. Was I putting myself first? And what I discovered was no, I was not. And what I did was I wrote this thing and later on I framed it. This is my manifesto of the things that are important to me that I put number one in relationship, in life. You can call it life manifesto. This is what I did. And my inner peace and my happiness is my top priority. So if someone disturbs that, I'm not apologetic at all. I just remove myself and go on with my life. The second thing is self-love and external love. Think of self-love as the foundation for every healthy relationship. And the great thing is that is something that we give to ourselves. We don't give our power away, because if we give love to ourselves, other people will start giving love to ourselves. And that will look very different for everyone, because some of us, especially in the beginning of our journeys, in the beginning of my journey to self-love, I was feeling guilty to go have a coffee with a friend while my then boyfriend was working. And I felt it was so off in me. I felt that I'm not prioritizing myself. I should not be feeling like that. Feeling like this, it's unhealthy. And so meet yourself where you are and start changing things. But self-love is the foundation for every healthy relationship because it always starts with you. I always say the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. And so here's the reality. If you are constantly doubting yourself or feeling unworthy, others will pick up on that energy. Even if you don't say anything, people will pick up on your energy because we communicate with people on energetic level. People can pick up on our energy. So it's very important to guard your energy, and it's very important to work on yourself, on your inner world. And that is what we call aura. Some people are just like magnetic and they have this aura around them. They don't have to be the most beautiful woman or a man. They don't have to be dressed in the best way, but there's something how they carry themselves that it's so mesmerizing. They have this aura. You just want to be constantly around them. Those are people that love themselves, show respect to themselves, they have healthy boundaries, and they don't let others disrupt. So next thing is self-respect and boundaries. Setting boundaries can feel foreign if you spent years saying yes to keep the peace. And that very often is people-pleasing behavior, and that stems from childhood. Setting up boundaries was something very foreign to me. My bestie is my great example. She has such a healthy boundaries that at first, when we started hanging out together, I thought was a little bit rigid, but I didn't realize that I didn't really have much of a boundaries. And now I'm just loving it. I'm like, this is amazing. It's just amazing to watch her how she says no. She prioritizes herself. She doesn't feel guilty for prioritizing herself. The love that she has for herself, it's refreshing because I feel like it's so rare, especially with age. And if we're single, we're like, okay, we have to drop everything and do whatever the guy wants just because we don't want to be alone. But this is the exact reason why we have very strong boundaries, because we already lived more of our life than we'll have to live. And it's extremely important to have a person next to us that treats us right. We don't want to be with someone just to end up with someone. I'd rather be alone than be with someone who is mistreating me. So think of boundaries as guardrails that protect your well-being. So here's a practical example. Let's say you've planned a much needed afternoon to yourself, maybe a massage or lunch with a friend. Then a man in your life last minute saying he's free and wants to see you. What do? If your first instinct is to drop everything and go, pause and ask yourself, what message am I sending to this person? By saying, I would love to see you, but I have plans I'm sticking to. You are reinforcing that your time matters. Your plans matter. Your needs, wants, desires matter. And they don't have to be life or death scenarios. It can be a massage. It matters. If they want to see you, they can make plans ahead of time. If they want to be upset, they can be upset and get over with. If they want to stop seeing you because of that, then this person is not for you. They'll never respect your boundaries. And let me tell you, when we don't have boundaries and we people please and we do whatever other people want us to do and we don't have a life of our own, we attract narcissists. We absolutely attract people who will take advantage of all that. So putting these boundaries very early on, it's extremely important to the person you're attracting. And if that person is not for you, you better know early on. Next thing, self-trust and trust with others. I had trust issues big time, and that stems from childhood. So for many of us, trust feels like a risky leap, especially if we've been hurt in the past. But trust starts with ourselves. Let's say you've been second guessing yourself whether someone is being honest with you. It's tempting to try to control the situation, checking their phone, repeatedly asking for a reassurance, or even micromanaging their actions. But that doesn't build trust. It builds anxiety. It's very discomforting to have anxieties. And you feel like you're not in control because you give all your power to the other person, their actions. Will they show me who they are? Will they do this thing that they said they will do? Let me remind them. I feel like part of it, why we remind people to do things, is because we're afraid they'll show us who they are, and we then have to be faced with that hard truth, and we don't want to do that. I think that was true for me in many situations. It might be true for you. The only way to learn if someone is trustworthy is to give them the opportunity to be trustworthy or not to be trustworthy, which means we need to give them space. We don't need to remind them, tell them what to do, monitor. We just have to detach and let them be. And when people show you who they are from the first time, believe them. And it's very scary, but it's also in a way very liberating to let the other person be. You can give yourself a timeline. That's what I did before. I gave myself a timeline. Okay, I'm giving myself 3 months to see if this thing is going to happen. Let it go. And then you enjoy yourself for 3 months. But you have to be ready to be disappointed. You have to be ready to be disappointed when they show you that they're not going to do that thing. And then you have to be like, okay, I guess they did show me who they are. It's not what I expected. It's not what I wanted, but I better learn it now. And then you course correct, or then you see how things. But you know what? Maybe they'll meet you halfway through. Maybe they will do that thing. And it will be genuine. Then you're going to feel like, wow, it's great that they did this thing without me saying anything. Because imagine the alternative. They do that thing by you constantly telling them to do. Then you're going to feel like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know why they did that. Did they do that because I told them to do that million bajillion times? And then again, you will not feel like you trust them. So the best thing to do is let it go and give the space. And know that if they disappoint you, trusting yourself means knowing you will be okay. Whatever the outcome is, if they turn out to be not that person that you expect them to be, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's the reflection of them, and you'll be okay. There'll be another man, there'll be another chance at this job, at this promotion, whatever it is. And the next thing is self-compassion and empathy. That is a hard one. We're so used to beating ourselves up for mistakes. And I went over this in another video, but it's just, I feel like most of us growing up, we were around perfectionistic people, like teachers, parents, and mistakes were not tolerated, failures were not tolerated, and we were so hard on ourselves. We are very often our worst critics, but would you ever say those words to your friends? To a friend who is struggling? You're not going to say that. You're not going to beat them. So why tell that to ourselves? We need to learn to treat ourselves like we treat our friends or our partners or other people, our children, and take that power and put it back to us. So practicing self-compassion means giving yourself the grace to make mistakes, to learn from them, to grow, to heal. When you treat yourself kindly, you create space for others to do the same. Because if you criticize yourself and you beat yourself up, others will pick up on that. And they will be critical of you too. When you treat yourself kindly, they're more likely to do that. So here's the bottom line. Your 50s can be a great time for reinvention, not settling. It's never too late to start working and prioritizing yourself. The relationship with others reflects the relationship you have with yourself. So I would suggest you to examine the relationships you have in your life and start with those areas to prioritize your needs, setting these healthy boundaries, building the trust, and practicing self-love. It's never too late to rewrite your story. Imagine a life where your relationships are filled with respect, kindness, a mutual care, all because you led by example. Because believe me, when you start doing the work within yourself, the people around you very often, they start to see that, admire that, and want a piece of that. And they start doing the work themselves as well. So that's it for today. Let's start a conversation. What is one way you can prioritize yourself today? Put it in the comments and I'm going to respond. And believe me, by doing that, you're helping others too, because you might give ideas to other people. And remember, the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. I'll see you next time. Ciao.